Welcome to Life on Purpose, where we talk all things health, wellness, and living your life on your terms. I'm your host, Brandy Eilert. I'm a holistic health and wellness coach and creator of Brandy Eilert Wellness, where I help women with adrenal fatigue and chronic stress live a more holistic, purpose-filled life. You can find my content and services at wellness360coach.com/Brandy-Eilert. You can also find me at Brandy Eilert Holistic Wellness Coach on Facebook or Brandy Eilert Wellness Coach on Instagram. Now get ready to learn how to really live life on purpose. What is gratitude? Being thankful, being appreciative. So, what is worthy of our gratitude? I guess only we can answer that within ourselves, and we may often think that we should have gratitude towards the things that enrich our lives in a positive way only. But what about having gratitude for things that have hurt us? People that have hurt us. Things that were really painful at the time but helped us to grow. People who have taught us some big lessons, set us on a different path that led to something wonderful. I've found that some of the most painful things in my life have led me to some of the things that I am most grateful for. Take the loss of our third pregnancy, for instance. We lost our baby girl a few years back, likely due to some undiagnosed health issues, undiagnosed at the time. The loss of the hope for a future with her was overwhelming and terribly painful at the time. And it still is if I spend too much time thinking about it. But without the symptoms that suddenly reared their head during that pregnancy and after that pregnancy, I may not have known for some time that I had a quiet monster looming. Multiple autoimmune diseases, adrenal insufficiency, vitamin and mineral deficiencies. My pregnancy with her brought to the surface the underlying stresses my body had been enduring quietly for some time. And I am incredibly grateful for her purpose. She led me down a path of health and wellness and ultimately being able to serve my own purpose of helping others do the same. Another example I like to bring to light, since my diagnoses, I have had to make many diet and lifestyle changes. While at first I felt sorry for myself and that I could not eat like I used to or eat like everyone else around me, I got over it really quickly once I started seeing the results that my body was showing me, both in my blood work and how I was feeling, and even in my appearance. I had had hair loss, my skin was really pale, I was underweight, and just did not look like myself, before. And my oldest son will often say, "Mom, I just feel sorry for you," while he's like mowing down a cheeseburger or chugging a milkshake, because it's things that I choose not to consume anymore for my own health. And I like to remind him that I am actually grateful for the choices I was forced to make, because I get to eat the healthy food that fuels me and will help me to live a long, healthy life so that I can be around to actively torture and embarrass him for as long as I can. I'm even grateful for the spiritual journey the loss of my father has taken me on. Those are the lessons that sometimes take a lot longer to find gratitude in, but I am grateful for the short amount of time he chose to stay on this earth. It's in these painful lessons that we can find the most gratitude, and practicing that can only enrich our lives even further, finding beauty in the pain. My guest today, Carly Israel, author of Seconds and Inches, does just that throughout her memoir. She writes, "I wear a sash like a beauty queen, except mine reads broken." A child of alcoholics and grandchild of Holocaust survivors, Carly Israel struggles to conceal her addictions and self-hatred, a path that can only end in death or sobriety. She embarks on a journey of healing, but faces a new set of challenges when her youngest child develops life-threatening medical issues. Throughout Seconds and Inches are thank you letters that Israel writes to loved ones and supportive friends, but also to schoolyard bullies and unkind strangers, all of whom have taught her crucial lessons and help her become the person she is. A badass, sparkly, lit up, on fire, brutally honest, potty-mouthed, tattooed woman. Praised by Jennifer Pastiloff as a haunting and beautiful memoir, Seconds and Inches is a story of recovery and transformation and thoughtful reflection on generational trauma, gratitude, and forgiveness. Israel is also an executive relationship and divorce coach at In Your Corner Divorce Coaching, Huffington Post contributor, host of 2 podcasts, In Your Corner Divorce and North Star Big Book, mother of 3 wild boys, sober warrior, and beautiful mess. I am so pleased to share this interview with all of you. So here it is, my conversation with the sensational Carly Israel. All right, Carly. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking today. I've been so anxious about this conversation for 2 reasons. Because there is so much that I think, so many directions that we could go with this conversation, and I really want to do it justice. Like, I feel like this anxiety to really do this conversation justice. So I really appreciate you taking the time. So you wrote an amazingly beautiful, raw memoir. And I would love to just start out by having you just kind of, tell me about you and tell me, like, in your words about your book.
Okay, first of all, thank you. That feels incredible. And we were saying before we started recording that, I think because both of us have made this decision in our life for various reasons to just live vulnerably and real, that we are now getting to experience connections with people that are also vulnerable and real, that feel so authentic and feel like you said, it feels like we're home. And I said to you, just from listening to your podcast and learning about you, I feel like I'm finding my people. Right? I'm 41, so I'm finding my people. I have friends that are great and I love them, but I've always been like this weird person in my friend group. And now I'm finding, no offense is a compliment, I'm finding all my other weird people.
Right, same.
Right? That are open, that want to talk about the story. So how did this, so my book, there was this one question that someone asked me recently in an interview, and they said, when did you start writing your book? And I said, when I was 9. Yeah. And they said, what do you mean? I said, I remember looking in the mirror at 9 years old, looking in my eyes and knowing I had a story inside of me, but that no one would listen to it.
Yeah.
And by the you read my book. And by the time I was 9, I was already in a pretty intense place. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I started physically writing when I was 19, right towards the end of what I thought was going to be my end. And that is when I discovered that writing was going to be a medium for me to like release, because I couldn't breathe. Right. And then it became how I existed with my relationship with my higher power, God or universe or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And then it became how I felt like how I know myself. And now it's becoming how I get to connect to the world. So it was like me and God, me and self, and now me and others.
Right. And you said yourself, you started going through some really intense things really young, and you reached a breaking point at what, 19?
Yeah, I was almost 20, 19 years old.
Right. So with the suicide attempt, and that's kind of where that rock bottom was, and then you started rebuilding. Yeah. So when did you physically start writing the book? I know you had these stories inside of you. When did you start physically writing?
Okay, so I'll give a little background. So one of the cool things I like to do as someone who's trying to constantly grow is I like to do challenges for myself, whether they're physical, mental, spiritual. And I heard about this challenge to do a daily thank you. And the person that did the challenge actually wrote the cards out. And I was like, I'll never be able to do that ever. So instead, I decided to post on Facebook every day a thank you to someone who's made my life brighter. And initially it was like all my favorite people, my favorite professors, and I would put like a cool picture with it. And then life happened, and one of my kids would get made fun of and come home crying. And I started writing thank yous to the kid that made fun of him so we could have this discussion that was really important that we needed to have. And people loved those thank you posts so much that when my year was over, they said, you can't stop writing. You have to do more. So I did a year of lessons. And in the middle of that year of lessons, a woman I knew 20 years before reached out to me and she's like, I'm a publisher. I have a publishing company. And would you consider turning this into a book? And I was like, shut up. And so, right. And I mean, of course I want to do that. So I thought I would just put together like a little gift book. Like, here's my favorite 50 and God bless, have a nice holiday. And she's like, no, there's stories in your thank yous that you need to write about. And that's the book I want.
Right.
And so she gave me like a time frame. It was like, you have 6 weeks to take this and turn it into, she gave me an outline. She's like, I want you to take all of your stories and break it apart into 3 different time frames. Your family that you came from, your own mess, and your renaissance, like that you've become. And I want you to write the hell out of it. And I want you to write in a way that makes you feel embarrassed and uncomfortable to share. Yeah. So vulnerable. And then we were going to intertwine my thank yous. And I felt like it was such a daunting task. But at the same time, I was like, if not now, when? Like,
so you wrote that book in 6 weeks.
Well, I wrote the first massive draft in 6 weeks. Then she had an editor who like destroyed me and was like, you need to go deeper. And I was like, what? I've like bled out. And then we did edits. And then, yeah, I mean, I technically wrote it in 6 weeks. And then we edited over a couple of months.
That is insanity. And I'll tell you why. Because that is probably one of the most raw and honest memoirs I've ever read in my life. And I cannot imagine going through those emotions constantly for 6 weeks.
And then when I audio recorded it and had to hear myself saying it out loud to a stranger that was behind me, whoa.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. And I should listen to it. I would love to hear it in your me. Yeah, I would love to hear it in your own voice.
It's coming out in 3 weeks. I'll send you the link when it comes out.
Gosh. Okay. That's amazing. Well, I want to go back to the letters because I thought that was really, really poignant because you wrote to people who had all over the board, people that helped you grow. You wrote to people that had hurt you. You wrote to really like mundane people who were kind of like maybe an asshole to you one time in a store and, just these lessons that you kind of learned from everyday people for all walks of life. What was the process like for you showing gratitude? Because it was gratitude where maybe a lot of us wouldn't want to show gratitude a lot of the times.
So people really want the same thing all over the world. We just want to be seen and heard. We want to be acknowledged. So Jim, my UPS driver, so freaking happy, that guy. He is the happiest guy ever on earth who delivers packages, right?
Yeah.
And what I was taught, because I'm in customer service for my day job, and I was a server forever, and I know that we get so many complaints all the time, and everyone takes time to complain, but no one takes time to say thank you.
Yeah.
And what it does to somebody when you stop what you're doing and make an acknowledgement, like it's kind of like how we feel when we get a good review. So I sent a letter to UPS and I said, please find Jim's manager. And they put it up there and they acknowledge that Jim is doing an awesome job. And I have to tell you, when he comes to my house, he gives me a little extra smile. People want to be known and seen and heard.
Right.
And I was taught that if you can't find gratitude, you will be an unhappy, miserable person. But gratitude is not like Thanksgiving month where you talk about it. Mm-hmm. It's an action. And so those letters were action.
Right. That was you going out of your way to let somebody who you see, just depending on how many packages you get, but
right. I have a little Amazon problem
that you see every once in a while in your daily life, but has affected you in a way where just him showing you just a little bit of kindness or a smile or just being who he is touched you enough, and then you going that extra mile. I really like that. And I loved reading the gratitude towards like those kinds of people. And then I loved reading the gratitude towards people who had hurt you, because you have to go through a process to get to that point to show gratitude to somebody who has deeply wounded you.
Yes. And what's important that I like to share, and the reason why I like to share it with my readers, is to help them understand that not only do I have to go through that process and they can too, it's a choice, but to show them that we can take something painful and turn it into something that we get a gift from it.
Yeah.
And that person, even though they hurt us, gave us a gift that we learn. Like sometimes our presents are not comfortable, right, when we receive them. But there are people in my life that have harmed me and hurt me that I'm saying thank you to, because they gave me something that no one else could have.
Right. And you say a lot too. You have to go through it to, to get to that other side, and to get to that gratitude, and to get to that growth. There's no going around it.
Can I read one of them?
Yeah, please do.
It's actually to divorce. So sometimes my letter isn't to a human, it's to like a concept or an experience that we've gone through.
Yeah.
So this is, Dear Divorce. This was also in HuffPost. Dear Divorce, you strong bitch. You are the hardest teacher I've ever had. You're also the best. You kicked my ass hard in the beginning. The pain and the fear were almost too much to bear, but the gifts just keep coming. In no special order, I thank you for making me a better parent. I found out how capable I am. I found my voice and get tons of opportunities to use it. I no longer live in a perfect house with a desperately lonely life. I found strength within myself that I truly did not know was available. You have brought me soul friends. You have forced me to be okay with myself regardless of what anyone else thinks. You have shown me how to step back and see the panoramic view. You have taught me empathy. You have taught me that no one actually knows what's really going on in anyone's marriage. You've taught me not to judge other people's marriages. You have helped me understand there is no such thing as wanting a divorce, because no one wants this. You taught me that the outcome of the marriage depends on both partners' involvement or lack thereof, that no one is truly at fault except in extreme cases. You have given me permission to be human during the terrible moments, the moments where I miss my kid terribly, the moment I wish I had a partner at curriculum night, and all the rest. But you are my best teacher, because I have become. I am unfolding. I am bursting open from your endless lessons. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for believing in me more than I believe in myself.
Damn. And that had to be so hard. Yeah, I think about you writing that, but then having to relive it to have gratitude towards it.
Yeah. I think of, in that book, I'm pretty sure towards the end of it, I talk about J.K. Rowling's famous quote that rock bottom became, I picture myself with my foot on the bottom of the floor, being at the way bottom of the pool, and then pushing up. Like it's a choice, right? So Brandy's like, you can look at that and go, divorce sucks, and it took so much from you, or all the things that we've experienced suck, medical stuff, whatever. But if you can change it around and get some perspective and go, what did it give me?
Sure.
Because it's not just black and white. It doesn't just take, it also gives.
Right.
It
just
changes how you experience it.
And just like any kind of trauma in life, because your book is not just about divorce. I mean,
right. No, not at all.
No, it starts out before you were even born. I mean, it starts out with the history of your family and the Holocaust. It starts out with your parents and the struggle that they went through. And then, kind of your identity issues, kind of your own traumas, your suicide attempt, medical issues, divorce. I mean, you touched on all of it, and it was not just one trauma. Your rock bottom was a culmination of traumas.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. And so I think that, and it's funny because when I was reading it, I was thinking, when I was a kid, and I think I maybe have told this story on the podcast before, but when I was a kid, I lost my dad when I was 11 to suicide.
I heard that. Oh,
yeah. So, and I remember thinking to myself, okay, this is the worst thing that's ever going to happen to me. Now I'm done. Now I can go on with my life. You don't realize as a kid that isn't it. These traumas it's not one and done. You can continue,
Well, I mean, even as an adult, you would hope that that's the worst, right? Like,
correct.
But we know, because you've been there and you've had so many more losses, that life, we're kidding ourselves if we think that that's it.
Right.
But I was wondering for you, when I heard that, did it give you any insight into his mental state to read My Mental State? Was it really painful to read about that, since that was so close to home?
Yes and no, but here's the thing. So I dealt with that loss when I was a kid. My brain chemistry was completely different. I processed his loss over and over again at each stage of my life.
Wow.
So when I was a kid and I lost him, I'm not sure that I could really wrap my mind around why, how,
Did you know it was suicide when you were a kid?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I did. I was 11. I was 11 years old. So my son is only a year older than I was, my oldest son.
Isn't that crazy when you look at him and you think about that?
Because
you think about like where you were and where they are.
Yes. And I am now like significantly, I'm not significantly, but I'm now older than my dad ever was. You know what I mean? So he was 31 or almost 30.
Wow.
Yeah. So almost 31
so young.
Days away from his 31st birthday. So yeah. And then I processed it differently when I was, in college. And then I processed it again when I got married. And then again, when I had children. It was just all these different ways of kind of going through that again and understanding it. And each stage was very different. So
I can imagine.
Reading it was, it kind of puts you there. Like you feel the desperation. And I never had any anger towards him other than angry that he wasn't there. Yeah. But I always tried to understand, and I do this in my daily life too. I always try to understand people's stories. I knew that there was a story. I knew that there was pain, and I knew that he came from somewhere, and those stories really attributed to his life choices, and then the rock bottom that he got to. So I try to do that in my daily life with everybody that I meet. I try not to have any harsh judgment, even to people that hurt me. And so when I was reading it, I felt that in your book too, because showing gratitude for people that hurt you, and then also kind of watching your struggle and the trauma that you were going through. Yeah, I mean, it's like,
everything you said is what my book is about, right?
Yeah.
So like where we come from matters. The stories that happened even before us, like the story of your father and whatever massive trauma he was dealing with happened so much earlier than you were even alive, right? And so we carry that with us. And a great professor who unfortunately is no longer with us anymore told me, hurt people.
Right.
And so if me and you don't do the work that we're working our asses off to do,
Sure.
We're going to carry it on to our kids, and neither of us want to do that. So it's such a responsibility.
Absolutely. And that's kind of, and I wrote that in my notes too, the way that you start your book, you started at the very beginning, as in like the very beginning, before you were born, with your grandparents and the Holocaust and all the wounds that were passed down just from that before you were even born. And it's almost like it's woven into your DNA, and you don't even realize it. And so you are dealing with wounds that you don't even understand. And so
we were taught when we were growing up, you can't complain about that.
Yeah.
Because your grandfather lived in the woods and had no parents. And my mom was she talked about that. She was never able to say, because she was first generation American, my mom, because her parents were immigrants. And my mom said she would be embarrassed about something she couldn't have at school. And she couldn't go to her mother and say, I can't have this party dress, when Kimberly can have it, because her mom was in the Holocaust. Like, so there's this stress and feeling of silencing when you're younger, just because of what your parents have gone through.
Right. And then it shapes how they parent. Therefore, then we get to you and your story and all the kind of isolation that you felt because of the wounds that they were carrying.
Yes.
And that's what I thought was so beautiful. And I loved how you started the book like that, is that it gradually, it built up and it built up and it built up. And you could see, as you were reading, you could see the gradual tension and the gradual, just like, it had a chokehold. And you could understand like the pain and just the angst. I mean, you could like feel it. You just like turning the pages like, oh my gosh.
That feels so good to know that I could convey that, because you're always you know, because of my past for so long, I was always afraid that people were going to think I was crazy when I would tell them something. So that's pretty much why I never shared any of my writing for many, many years, because when you're told you're crazy for so long, or you're told you're being dramatic, or you're told you just are imagining things, then you don't believe that you have validity and that your voice should be heard. And one of the things that I love about Jaded Ibis Press, my publisher, is that Elle, who owns it, believes in letting voices be heard that are not normally heard.
Right. And I think that's awesome. And I think, you know, today, especially in like the global climate, it's really, people are scared of their truths. People are scared of speaking out, and people they don't like, I mean, if you do, there's a lot of backlash. And so it feels almost really brave to be able to be as truthful as possible. And I think though too, even if you didn't write the book and put it out there, as brave as that is, the process of coming to your truth and coming to understand who you really are, how you really feel, what your truths are, is a process in itself. And you know, for those of us who maybe aren't brave enough to write a book or will never write a book, that is super important. I mean, our stories kind of start in the middle. Yeah. And then you go backwards. And
I love that.
Forwards. Yeah.
It's not linear.
No.
And you can't understand it linear. And to, like you said before, you know, one of my favorite concepts is this question that we can ask each other. If you, and it's not mine, I heard someone else say it, that if you had an hour at Harvard University when COVID's not happening.
Yeah.
And they said, you have 1 hour in front of the entire university faculty and staff and news cameras to share 5 life lessons.
Yeah.
What would you share, right? You've got your audience. You got some of the brightest minds in the world. And my first life lesson that I would share is that everyone has a story. And we start to see each other better when we remember that everyone has a story, and that if you're being mean to me, there's something behind that.
Right.
You're not just people that are okay are not mean, right? So there's something that is hurting that person. It doesn't make our pain less, but it helps me understand them more, because otherwise I take everything personally.
Sure. And you wrote this in your book too. Your opinion of me is not any of my business. So
hard.
Yeah. And it really is kind of difficult, because we all want to be liked and understood and whatnot, but to be able to let that go is difficult. It's difficult.
It's freeing. It's freeing. I just got a new tattoo on my arm that I bought myself for my book.
Yeah.
And I'm 41 and I have tattoos all over. And when I got it, I kind of hid it from my mom. I didn't want her to see it yet. Yeah. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like I have 3 children. I'm 21 years sober. I have tattoos all over my body. She's been looking at them since I was 18 going, is that going to come off? And I'm still, you know, because I don't want to deal with that. Why did you do this?
Sure.
And I hope at some point I won't, but I've gotten so much better. Like my kids are like, please stop being so comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're embarrassing us. And I love that too.
Hey, that's like one of the perks of being a parent, I think.
Yes, that's right.
So that kind of leads me into authenticity, because I wrote this quote down from your book. It says, when we live our lives with authenticity, mistakes and beautiful messes, all that is left is the light. There is nothing, like you said, there is nothing more freeing than being able to feel like you are living a life that's your own. And when you spend so much time living your life for other people, or living under the thumb of someone else, or trying to live up to someone else's expectations, it's a huge, huge, huge weight. And so when I read that, I was like, this is that's the epitome of freedom. That's the epitome of being able to just not worry about what everybody else is thinking, but just living for who you really are.
And I think it's also about defining what success is for you. So I come from a family where a lot of the people in my family, success is driving a really fancy car. And that's not my version of success. I think they're beautiful, those cars, but if you gave me the choice between that car and that same amount of money to be able to take my kids on cool trips or to donate stuff or to like do some fun things, I would always choose those other things.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think one of the highest levels of success for me is what you just said, is being able to be honest about where I'm at and how I feel and what I like and what I don't like, and living that truth. Like when you see like the t-shirts, because I've got one that says live your truth, what does that actually mean? For me, what it means is I'm not trying to impress anybody, and I'm putting forth like what my priorities are. And for me, my priorities are being a good mother, being a light into the world, and being useful.
Yeah.
And the rest of the stuff is just extra, right? And if I'm doing those things, I'm at my most like centered, right?
Yeah. No, and that's a beautiful way to put it too, because again, everybody has their own ideas of A, what life should be like, B, what your life should be like. And again, that's none of your business, what they feel like your life should be like. And so in the book, it was very much, and this is going to sound really weird. It was a little bit of a love story in a way of you falling in love with yourself. It was you falling in love with who.
No, that's not weird at all. Can I just tell you something? I've never heard anyone touch on that. And it's true, because I don't know if you were aware of this, but since I was very, very little, I can't remember if I shared it a lot in my book or not, but I always wanted to find him, like that partner, that soulmate, right?
Yeah.
And I remember dreaming about it. Like when I was 3, I liked these twins, Adam and Chad, because they had like a fire truck sweatshirt that went off. And at 3, I knew that I couldn't love Adam because my brother's name was Adam, and then we would be confused when we were at family dinners. So at 3, you have a 3-year-old. At 3, I knew I had to like Chad, and I walked into a pool and I split my eyebrow open looking at Chad, and my brother complained because it was taking too long to like go to the hospital. So, but what I'm trying to say is I was always looking for him.
Yeah.
And I settled and I settled and I settled, and I kept forgetting my worth. And I got to a place, fast forward, where I am today, where I have an amazing partner who I madly love. He is human, just like I am. Mm-hmm. But I also don't feel afraid that I'm going to lose him or not be okay if I don't have him. Yeah. Because one of the things I discovered is I found the person that's always going to have my back. Yeah. And it's me. Right. And it's not in a victim way anymore. Like, I can't believe I have to do this by myself. It's, no, I've got you.
And I think what's really interesting too is through all of the struggles that you went through, like with your marriage and then your children and the health issues and stuff, what I really loved and appreciated is that you really portrayed how strong a woman, especially a mother, can be when she has to be. Because I think every mother will tell you, you don't know the depths of your strength until you have kids. And then you're like, oh my God, I will go to the ends of the earth for you. There is nothing that I will not do. And then that kind of shifts into how you see yourself or how you kind of live your daily life too.
Yeah. I think I always say this to people who are going through hard times with parenting, with children that are like medically sick or something really scary is happening. I say to them 2 things. 1, you're going to become more beautiful than you've ever become. Mm-hmm. Like you said, you're going to find your strength. And one of the things I feel the most grateful for, which is hard for people to understand because it also means that my son has to have challenges and a lot of fear, is that made me a really good mother. Yeah. And I do not believe I'd be the mother I am today if I didn't have my son who has all these scary medical things, because it forced me to become the advocate and the warrior and the, I will burn down a city for you. Yeah. But I didn't know that was inside of me.
I don't think any of us do. Yeah. I don't think any of us do until you're faced with it.
You have no other choice.
Right. Right. And then you're like, wow, where did that come from? I didn't know that was there. And then you're like, wow, okay, well, I can do anything.
It's true.
Yeah. You kind of transform a little bit in that sense that your depths are deeper than you even imagine.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down.
Where was, there was that. Yeah. Okay. So I wrote down, another quote. It said, you said, it is not BS that you must go to the places where you can, or get to the place where you can love yourself on your own in order to have a healthy relationship. It's true. It's not BS.
It's true. Like, you know, people always say that, oh, you have to love yourself first. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually for real. I mean, you're in a marriage. There's no such thing as a marriage where you're not going to fight.
Oh,
where you're not
totally.
And when I have a fight with my husband, and we fight, like, we don't fight ugly, but we fight.
Yeah.
Like, because I finally have somebody that's willing to stand up to me. And right, because I'm a strong woman. So he's willing to stand up to me. And during those fights, I'm a runner. So my first go-to is peace out, drop the hyphen. I'm peace. I'll literally, you can leave all the stuff that's in my dresser at your house there, because he lives in a different state, and I'll just pretend that this never happened. Like, I'm already thinking about, like, as soon as anything's hard, right? Because if it's hard, I'm just like, I don't need you, bye, right? Bye. And he knows, because I tell him myself, like, that's where my head's going. But in those times, he cannot emotionally support me. It's got to be from me.
Yeah.
And if you don't love yourself, then you won't be able to breathe when you're not getting along with that person that you're needing that from.
Right. And that's really interesting because, so, you know, we discussed before we started recording, you're also a divorce coach. Yeah. And we're going to do a whole other podcast.
I can't wait. I literally think that the concept I have and the clients and coaching I can do can change the landscape of divorce for anyone who's willing to do it.
And that's really, because there's not a whole lot that I can contribute on my side, but I think it's really fascinating because what I do in my coaching and on my podcast is talk about living your life with intention. And when something ugly like that comes up, doing it with intention and doing it on purpose, I think is really important. And so, you know, so when you and I were getting to know each other and I kind of was researching your coaching business, I thought, wow, there's not really anything a whole lot out there as far as this goes and helping people kind of navigate with intention, because when you get a divorce, it's not done, right? Especially if you have kids. Yeah.
If there's kids involved, it's till you die.
Yeah. Right.
But we'll get on that tangent.
Everybody could have seen your face just then. But yeah, so we're gonna do a whole other part 2 podcast on just that, because I think that's really, really fascinating.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Let me see. We talked about rock bottom and gratitude. I would love to hear, and I think it's towards the end of the book when you write, if I measured my worth by other people's opinions of me, I would be hiding under a rock. Do you mind reading that passage? Like,
yeah.
Although I love that.
Figure out where it does it show you? Do you have anywhere that shows what chapter?
It was one of the very last chapter.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna look.
Okay.
Was it a lesson?
Because I think so. Or I can read it too. I just wanted to
I just want to see if you have any other words.
It ended, what was really poignant to me. I need no approval. I am enough. I am a soul. This is my body. This is my life. This is the truth.
Oh, you read it. You're doing a great job.
Okay. So if I measured my worth by other people's opinions of me, I would be hiding under a rock. But I'm not, because their opinions aren't my business. One of the lessons I have learned along the way is that everybody has a story. Who am I to judge? Life is not a race. There are no prizes for the maximum number of laundry loads completed and dishwashers loaded and unloaded. This is my life. What am I going to do with it? When I slow down enough, I remember my truth. I am a perfect child of God, and there's absolutely nothing I can do to change that title. I have nothing to prove. I need no approval. I am enough. I am a soul. This is my body. This is my life. This is the truth for all of us. What are we going to do with our one precious life?
Oh, I'm going to make myself cry.
Yeah. So I think it's really important too for people to be able to, I guess what I got out of that passage was that if we zoom out, because we're so intertwined with social media, with other relationships, with people's opinions of us, with our kids and their issues and dramas, and there's all of these other things. But when we zoom out and we're able to kind of like see the bigger picture, what are we going to do? What is the big picture for us? What are we going to do with our lives, and what choices are we going to move making forward to make it the best possible scenario? Because again, going back to the fact that we will go through traumas, it's not one and done like I used to think as a kid. There are going to be things that come up that we have to deal with, and being able to kind of do it with grace and gratitude, like the letters that you wrote in the book, I think is really important, which is why I loved that passage, because through the entire thing, it was about gratitude. It was all about gratitude.
Yeah. And, and it's also about like, your story about your father and the other tragedies that you've been through, and you talked about on your podcast episode with your husband that there was like 2 years of just like shit.
Oh yeah.
And
awful.
like horrible, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, are you kidding? Really? Right now? Again? Oh, I'm sure. Who else? Right?
Yeah.
And so, me and my friend Sarah call them AFGOs, another fucking growth opportunity. And because I'm like, oh, I guess we're having another one, right? Yeah. So we're going to get so strong. And those opportunities, you can choose. You can either walk away from them and be like, life sucks, and I'm a victim and pity, or what am I going to learn from this, right? And so that's why I love that idea. It's not mine, that story about on every single gravestone are 3 things, regardless of how fancy your marker is.
Yeah.
The date you were born, the date you died, and that dash.
Yeah.
And that dash, my kids and I, once in a while, we go to this beautiful cemetery and we look at the cool things and old numbers. And I say to them, that 2-inch dash is your life. Mm-hmm. That's it. You're not going to remember any of this stuff. What do you want to do with you? It's your dash.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with it? And like, I want like what you do in your coaching business, which is why I'm going to have you on my podcast. And what I believe, we get to live this life. If I'm living it so you approve of it, that's really exhausting.
Yeah.
How much time are we even going to spend together? My parents or my family or you on Facebook, you're going to click through and approve of it. And then I have to go live it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that is exhausting. And that's why, so in my process, that was one of the things that I didn't realize that I was doing as much as I was, but it was a really heavy burden. And I went through a really awesome transition of saying no. And it was the most freeing thing possible.
I heard you talking about that. I think that no is the most spiritual act you can say.
Oh, and then you get kind of addicted to it and you're like, okay, maybe.
I know, but you know what it is? It's like, when we're such busy mamas and we're doing all this amazing stuff, we have to look around and go, what can I remove?
Right.
Is like you talk, is this going to serve me?
Yeah.
Just like I do with like the clothes. I love going through my clothes and walking through and being like, who's getting out of my closet? Yeah. Because here's the reality. I mean, you're dressed beautifully, but I wear basically the same thing every day. I wear something comfy, a cute tank top that has words on it, and like exercise pants.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got dressed for you today. So
I'm so honored. But you know what I'm saying? Like I need to find out what is serving me and what I'm using and what I'm not. And that includes beliefs.
Yeah.
And that includes people. And that includes concepts of the way I want to live, what my life is going to look like.
Yeah.
I mean, we get to choose. Like, I love that your podcast is Life on Purpose. There's so much that's out of our control that we have nothing to say, but we do have how we want to go about it.
Oh, completely. And I think that we forget that. We forget that from a very, very young age too, that we have choices and we have choices for us. And it's so funny because I'm actually parenting one of those kids who likes to exercise her choices. It's going to serve her really well when she's older, but right now, man.
He's going to give you a run for your money.
Oh, she already does. Yeah.
Is this which number is
my
it?
middle. So my second. She's the only girl, and she's right in the middle of 2 boys. And yeah, she's a Scorpio like me, and
Yeah, mine is my karma baby, my youngest, and
yeah.
he is my greatest teacher on earth.
Mhm.
So if you look at her as your teacher
Oh yeah,
and
completely.
ask yourself, what is she teaching me? And then there's this other awesome tool I learned for ours. There's an amazing psychologist named Lisa D'Amour, and she has a podcast now.
Mhm.
And I actually heard her speak, and she talked about it as a glitter storm, and that like when they're having like their tantrum and their massive emotional everything, that it's like a glitter storm, like those jars of glitter.
Yes.
And you have to wait to let it settle, right?
Right.
And so you have to just like let them be and be the lighthouse and let them calm down. But they're always trying to teach us something.
Oh, completely. Oh yeah, every one of my kids, and I'm sure you feel the same way, are very, very different. Very.
That was a shocker to me because mine are all boys, so I thought they're going to be a certain way, and they could not be more different from each other.
No, it's crazy. It's craziness. And you're right. They have their own lessons for us for sure.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I had here. I like I said, I was writing notes like furiously.
I'm so honored by the time and depth of thought that you put into this. Like, I just feel so grateful, and I feel seen and heard, and like, what a gift.
Yeah. Well, and that was kind of one of the first notes that I wrote too, was how much of your healing came from just starting to be seen and starting to be heard and understood. Because, you know, a lot of your story was about you hiding from yourself, hiding from other people, not really showing your true self. And then once you started to really understand yourself and you kind of hit your rock bottom with the suicide attempt, and then, you know, building yourself back up, just seeing yourself, and then having someone else or other people start to see you and understand you was one of the more transformational moments. I mean, can you speak to that just a little bit more about the being seen and being heard and how that transformed you?
And what I also know is that it had to happen exactly the messy way it did. For me, it was definitely, I would say that like the pivotal part was God in a Backpack, chapter 29, when I go on that trip by myself to Israel with God, but I don't end up in Israel. And I want to say that I got to a place in my life where I could not be with my own head anymore. It was killing me because I was killing myself. Like, my head was chewing on me, and I wasn't being nice anymore to myself, or I'd never been nice, but it was just so clear now because there wasn't any busyness around me. I was by myself, and I had to come to like this place where I talk about, I'm sitting on the floor in Nice, France by myself. Nobody literally even knows what continent I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm by myself, and it's me in the mirror and God. And I have like a 2-hour conversation out loud with myself at 22 years old, laughing, crying, making amends, and making a commitment to a friendship with Carly that I'd never offered.
Right.
So I think I walked around alone for all those years, if you see my past, and I was hiding and I was trying to find something to make it better, but I didn't realize I had it all along.
Mm-hmm.
But I needed me to like get on board with that. Like, I needed the Carly and the Carly to like be in one place and be like, let's just do this as a team. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Did you know for a long time that you were hiding from yourself? I mean, like, is that something that you processed, that you?
I guess I didn't call it hiding. I hated myself.
Yeah.
I don't think I used the word hiding. I think I couldn't stand to be with myself.
Yeah.
And that's why I got high and drunk and went after guys and did things that were painful and starved my body. And I just wanted to be less of myself. I wanted, the act of having, a body issue stuff for 2 decades. It really is about wanting to be less of.
Yeah. Forget
like all the society stuff about what looks beautiful. Like I wanted to cut parts of myself off.
Yeah. It was too much.
And it was too, and what's so ironic is in the story, when you get to the place, which is towards the end of my marriage, I realized that what he wants of me is less.
Yeah.
And thank God I got to a place where I was celebrating what I found, and I was no longer willing to be less for anybody, especially myself.
Yeah, because you say in your book too, which I thought I had to giggle. You just, I'm a lot, you know.
I am. I mean, you are too. You can. That's why we like each other. Like, we are not quiet. Yes, sir. No, sir. Whatever you need. Like, I was the person in my first marriage that he would put his hand on my leg under the table while we were at his family's dinner to tell me to shh, quiet.
Well, it's so funny because in my everyday life, I am pretty quiet because I'm
shocked.
It's funny too because I'm only very outward with people that I trust and that I think can get me. And I'm still working on that. Again, it's a process, but I'm also very much an observer. And so I'm quiet in that sense, especially like in a big setting, because I'm taking everything in. I like to process a lot of information, and then I will come regurgitate it to my husband or, you know, the people that I trust the most. I keep my circles very tight, which is really, again, not many people would probably think that about me, but in my everyday life, I'm very much more of an observer and quiet until something is really important for me to say. That makes sense.
And then people are like, whoa, look what she's got inside of her. See, I always joke that I am an introvert trapped in an extrovert's body. So I'm like really good at being out. I was in theater. I could speak in front of thousands of people, no issue, tell my soul. But I don't like being like at a dinner party where I have to talk about stupid crap. Like I would literally rather not do that.
Right. And I think that that's an important distinction too, because I have a really hard time with mundane conversation. I don't like trivial stuff. It bothers me. It sucks my energy out. Like
it feels like a waste of our time.
Right. It takes a lot of energy to kind of put out towards that, where and again, that's why a lot of the times I am really quiet in a big room, because there's nothing that I feel like that I can contribute that is not trivial. Does that make sense? Yeah.
It does, 100%. And then when you get to this kind of opportunity where we get to talk about real stuff, we could talk forever, because it is like we're in flow with it. We're like, this is what matters.
Like this touches my soul.
Right?
Yeah.
This is exactly. And that energizes me. What does not energize me is to talk about like, how is virtual schooling going for you? Well, it sucks.
Like everybody knows it's terrible.
Like no one can get on the links. My kids are so bored. They hate it. I got a virtual kid skipping school virtually next to me on the couch. I mean, it's a mess. It's a shit show.
Virtually skipping school. That's a new one. That's a 2020 thing.
With 5 of his teachers, including his principal, and one of them said, "So, Carly, is your Wi-Fi bad?" And I said, "No, my Wi-Fi is really good. I paid a lot of money to get like mesh surround because we've got all these people here." She said, "Well, Desi keeps coming in and out and in and out." And I said, "Well, that's interesting." She's like, "His face is gone for 20 minutes at a time." And I said, "Our Wi-Fi is really good. And my kid is virtually skipping your class. And I don't know about it because I'm working full-time next to him. And we're going to get on him." And this is like day 4.
Right.
That's
like
my
the
karma
same story
baby.
My friends are dealing with right now.
My karma baby.
That's really kind of funny.
It's special.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, this has been an amazing conversation. I can't wait for part 2.
Me too. And then I get to have you on.
Yay! I know. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun.
I'm so grateful for your time and your energy and everything. And I made an appointment with your person.
Oh, good.
I'm gonna get my reading done. I'm so excited.
So awesome.
I feel like we're at the beginning.
Yeah, I do too. And so before I forget, so where can everybody find your book? And then also let's go ahead and throw your coaching business out there too. And we'll throw it out again the next episode.
Awesome. So my book is called Seconds and Inches. It's by Jaded Ibis Press. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can get the digital version on like iTunes or any of those places.
Okay.
There's a cool link called IndieBound, and that's to support like local bookstores.
Okay.
And then my audio version of me reading it, if you can handle my voice for that long, comes out really soon. And then I have my podcast, which is called In Your Corner Divorce. Mm-hmm. So it's all about focusing on how we can make intentional choices to not mess up our kids with
Right.
our emotional baggage. And that's what I work with my clients.
Awesome. And then you also are a contributor to Huffington Post too, is that right?
I was during those years before, no offense, it kind of sold out and became like, you can just do anything you want on our platform. So yeah.
It's important to, yeah.
So when I was doing it, like there were real editors that were like, we want you to write about this really uncomfortable topic. And I'd be like, awesome. Now you can't even speak to a human, which is really hard, right?
Yeah, that really sucks too, getting further and further away from like that human connection and kind of, yeah, that's
My dream job, I'm going to put it out to the universe, besides my coaching, is to take that and to be like a Dear Abby columnist with divorce.
yeah.
And talk about it real, about like what you need to do to stop like being in your own crap and like move forward.
Yeah. You can do it.
I know.
You're on your way anyway.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and your energy.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, Carly. We will we'll catch up with you again on episode 2. We'll book that really soon. Wait. And then and then we'll talk again, gosh, here in a few weeks, I think.
Yes, I can't wait.